Okay, so far I show that we have Randy, Morgan, Ralph, Dustin, and Ryan is here in the room.
This meeting is now being recorded.
Okay. Well, let's start with how you guys' weeks were. Randy, have you been able to get back out in the field at all? You there, Randy? Okay, let's go to Ralph. Ralph, how was your week last week?
I've been doing the 65 and 70 lists. First day was pretty encouraging. Then it sort of got less encouraging as I went on. But yeah, I haven't sold anything, but I've got a few people that wanted me to contact them to call them back.
How many calls would you say you made on those?
20 or 30, something like that.
Okay. Yeah, if you when you make those calls, one of the good things you can do is kind of track your success rate, and then you know how many calls you have to make to get sales. It always encouraged me when I was starting a new kind of call. So at least you got a couple callbacks. Anything exciting going on this week?
This week?
Yeah.
Nah, yesterday was a bad day. You know, the first person I called on turned out they died years ago. Second person I called on had moved years ago. Then after that, it was mostly, you know, not home and not interested.
Okay. Yeah. Unfortunately, the quality of the leads, nothing we can do about it, except for when you go out there and you find that out, you notify our office and we'll make sure it doesn't happen next year. But somebody's got to be that guy that finds it out.
Yeah, who do I talk to correct, like, bad route card information or to update things like that?
If you send in a note on a route card, on the back of a route card, or on a piece of paper, just into the office, and just send it into our office and put it into Angie, she'll get those plugged in. Okay? That'll help all the agents that'll make that same call over and over for years to come. Let's see, Morgan, this is your first week. No, next week is your first week. All right. Well, Morgan, congratulations on signing up with us and passing your test. I've heard a lot of good things about you. You're going to be working with my brother-in-law, Denver. So I know he's a good trainer, and I wish you best of luck down there. We have these calls every Monday. So just trying to teach you guys some basics of the industry so you guys can go out there and make some money and know what you're talking about. So try to make it on these calls every week.
You got it. Thanks.
Okay. Yeah, no problem, Morgan. Let's see, Randy, you on?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. You having any luck with your health getting back out in the field?
Not yet, but I am going this afternoon, and it is getting to the point I can read again. I've lost some of my distance. I don't see as good at a distance as what I did before all this happened. But, painful. You know, I've had broken bones and operations and all that stuff. That was a whole new different type of pain. It really is.
I can't imagine that eye stuff is just, oof. Well, good luck with all that.
I fell still where it starts fluttering, and then, the print will go, just kind of fade away. But it's definitely getting better than it was. So, one bright note, though, I wasn't out in the field last week, but I did spend some time with our favorite client in Weston. And, not personally, but finally, we're seeing the end of a long ordeal here. We're finally, the money's transferred, and it should be issued tomorrow.
Awesome. Yeah, I saw that. That's good job on that. I know it was all screwed up and it was my fault, so thanks for fixing that.
Well, yeah, it's taken a lot of extra time and effort and quite a bit of extra expense. Quite a few extra trips back and forth.
Yeah,
we got it.
Okay, let's see here. So I got Ryan is here sitting in the office with us. He's brand new this week too, so lucky to have him on board. He's trying something new, so thanks for joining us. And like I said, we do these every week, so at 9 o'clock usually on Mondays, though, not Tuesdays. Yesterday was kind of screwed up. Okay, who else do we have on? There's an unknown caller that's on. Who is that? Dustin, is that you? Okay, we got a mystery person. That's okay.
What's that?
Hey.
Hello?
Hey.
Hello.
There he is. That's Dustin. Hey, how was your week last week, Dustin?
You know, I got in, I sold some, but it was the wrong age. So I had to tear up the check and call them back and everything.
Well,
no,
hey, sell it yourself?
Yeah, I did.
Did you sell it yourself?
Yeah, it was an accident policy, it was a new household, you know, and then, you know, I went over some long
right.
care.
Well, I owe you,
What?
well, I owe you something. I don't care if you got it wrong. You made a sale, so I'll make sure to send you I'll send you a jacket when it's starting to get cold out.
It's all good, man. I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you deserve it. You made a sale.
Yeah, man, I saw it. You know, I got all excited and took it and ran. But no, he was 73, and I know that accident policy ends in 69. I just got a little excited, but yeah, a lot of not homes, a lot of farmers are out turning beans and stuff like that. So
you'll get hooked on that. That's what's fun about the job. When you close it and you get excited every time, that's what's fun. I mean, you help them, they help you. It gets to be addicting. So yeah, you deserve it. I'll send you one. And you don't worry. I mean, the first sale I ever made was a couple that had long-term care, and I sold just to the wife, had her sign her name on his application. They sent it all back, and he didn't even know he was getting long-term care, and I collected the wrong premium, and half the application wasn't filled out. Believe me, if you make a sale, you're breaking the ice. That's the big thing. I don't care if the paperwork's right or you got the wrong age. It's making the sale that counts. So
yeah. But yeah, getting a lot of people not home this week. Other than that,
let's start with a little bit of lesson on a universal life. Okay, this is a really complicated type of life insurance, but I'm going to try to break it down for you guys because you need to know how these things work to be able to, first of all, sell them. Second of all, replace them. A lot of business comes from replacing bad life insurance. Okay, so if you're sitting with a customer, I'm going to explain today what a guaranteed universal life is, what an indexed universal life is, what a universal life is, and what a variable universal life is. Now, this sounds like a lot, but I'm going to try to make this simple for you guys and just break it down to what a UL is, what they all share in common, and then we're going to break it down a little bit. Hey guys, if one of you guys is echoing, if you can, mute your line. Okay, so we're going to start with these three: IUL, UL, and variable UL. Okay, these are the complicated ones, the more complicated ones. Okay, you're going to run into the most, by far, just universal life. Okay, universal life is all over the place. A lot of people have universal life. They bought insurance in the 80s, life insurance in the 80s or 90s. I bet it's something like 60% of that stuff that still enforces universal life. Okay, so we're going to talk about what a universal life is first. Okay, so everybody understands that an 18-year-old, if you buy life insurance at 18 years old, it's going to cost you next to nothing, right? So let's just say it's $1 per 1,000. Just an example, okay? I don't know how close I am there, but just as an example, this is your cost of insurance. Okay, they call it COI. They abbreviate in these statements. Okay, so your cost of insurance at 18 years old is $1 for 1,000. Now that number's wrong. Don't hold me to that, but you're going to get the idea of why I'm using it here. Okay, when you're 30 years old, it's not going to be $1 anymore. It's going to be a little bit more expensive. Maybe it's $1.50. Okay, per 1,000. Okay, now when you're 80, what's it going to cost you? It's going to cost you $100 per 1,000. Okay, so if you were to take anybody, they rate you in these life insurance policies as healthy as you are or as unhealthy as you are. If you were to take your health rate and plug it in at 18, everybody's cost of insurance with that same health rate should cost $1. Everybody at 30 years should be $1.50. Everybody at 80 years old should be $100. Okay, and at 81 it goes up to 105 and so on. But what the point I want to get to you guys, every year your cost of insurance goes up in the universal life. Okay. Okay, so now that we understand the cost of insurance a little bit, this is what your cost of insurance is going to look like. It's an exponential scale. Okay, your cost of insurance is going to start out at $1, right? And then it's going to go up a little bit, and then the older you get, it's going to go way up. Actually, it probably looks even way more different than that. It's probably more like this. Okay? It's an exponential scale. Okay? So you've got your cost of insurance, $1 at 18, $1.50 at 30. Right? And then you got, when you're 80, it's $100. Okay? So the older you are, the more it gets, the more the cost it is for the insurance company to insure you. This is something you have to understand to sell or replace any universal life, whether it's index universal, guaranteed universal life, or variable. Doesn't matter. Okay? Okay, so what they do on this is they take this exponential scale. And if you were sitting down 20 years ago with an insurance guy, this is what he would do. He'd plug it into a fancy computer, and he'd say, well, your cost of insurance is $1 right now. If I could sell you a policy, it's $1 a month or whatever, for $1,000 per 1,000, okay, your cost of insurance is actually going to go up every single month in most of these policies. Okay, so I can sell it to you for $1, but the way these universal life policies work is I'm going to plug in a number. Let's say I'm going to make you pay $100. Now, I know your cost of insurance is $1. I get that. But the idea is I'm going to have you pay $100 when you're 18. That way there's $99 going into a different account. Okay? So the idea is I'm going to make you pay $100 all the way through. Okay? Now, we are overpaying here, and we are underpaying here. Okay? The idea of a universal life policy is to make the insurance more affordable by taking the risk off the insurance company. Okay? The risk is on you with the insured. Okay? The life insurance agent would have plugged in $100 as the premium. he would have said that current interest rates are 7% in the 90s, 8, some of them are 9. So I'm going to say $100 a month is going into a separate account. That separate account is called cash value, CV, cash value. That cash value account with interest rates today is making 7%. Projecting that cash value, this is the extra account, right? Projecting that cash value out, it's going to, this overpayment here with the interest is going to pay for this later. That's how a universal life works. You overpay now, and then you have a cash value bucket, and it pays for the insurance later when your cost of insurance goes over what your premium is. It starts dipping into your cash, okay? Now, what's happened to these policies is they projected these things in the 80s and 90s to make 7, 8, 9%. With a floor of maybe 3 or 4%. So this cash value account on the side hasn't been staying up with what it was projected to be to pay later all the premiums. So a lot of these things, what happens is they don't have insurance later. What'll happen is when the cost of insurance goes up and up and up and they start taking out the money out of the cash value and it doesn't keep up with this premium, you get a bill. Guess what your bill is? Your bill is your COI. At age 80, your COI is through the roof. 81, it's going to get higher. 82, it's going to get higher. You're talking it's not unreasonable for a $100,000 policy for somebody in their 80s to pay $18,000, $25,000 premium because their cash value bucket ran out. Okay? A lot of that is on the insurance agent that sold that to them originally because they projected it. You could plug in whatever number you want in a universal life policy to project it out. And that was part of the problem. We do no business like this anymore. You're not going to sell this. But you have to know the way these work to be able to replace them. Okay? So that's the universal life. Okay. Now we're going to talk about these three. This is very simple. Now that we understand the cash value, it is very simple to understand the difference here. Okay? The cash value in an index policy, cash value goes to index funds. Just like an indexed annuity, okay? Goes to something where there's caps and participation rates. It goes to index. I would say it's an indexed annuity, but it's not. It goes to an account that's based on indexed funds. Okay, so it's a guaranteed way. It's going to make a guaranteed interest rate, but it's going to be able to make, say, 9% in a year or whatever the cap or participation rate is. You won't sell much of this. This is for somebody, either they're rich and they want to put money on the side for cash value for later, or they're young and they want a lot of cash value when they get older. Okay? You're not going to sell a lot in estate planning. Variable universal life. All this is, variable universal life is cash value goes to stock market. Okay? Now, understanding how important the cash value is inside of a life insurance policy is key to understanding why this is a stupid thing to do. The cash value, you need that later to support your policy. And you're going to put it in the stock market? It doesn't make any sense. You'll run into them every now and then. They're very high fees. You're never going to sell one because, first of all, you can't sell one. I can't sell one. You got to be licensed for it. But you don't want to sell them. And you probably want to replace them almost every chance you get. I just replaced one out here in Deer Park. Guy had $100,000 in one of those in the stock market. He didn't even know it was in the stock market. He just thought it was life insurance. But this guy was collecting fees every month off of him because he's investing in the stock market. And he was risking his whole life insurance policy for no reason, just because it was sold to him that way. okay? So now, a universal life, the cash value in that is just like a fixed annuity, okay? It's going to get 3% or 4% interest. It's going to go up and down with long-term interest rates, okay? So you've got those three different kinds. So this is current long-term interest rates, okay? You got those three different kinds of universal life. If you were going to focus on any of them to really learn, it would just be this one. That's your most important to know. Not that you're going to be selling it, but you're going to run into it all over the place out in the field when you're reviewing life insurance. I'm telling you guys, you're missing the boat if you're not reviewing life insurance. I personally have made $25,000 in commission in the last 6 weeks off of just reviewing life insurance and helping people with their life insurance. Every scenario, they come out looking better than what they did before. Okay, so now we know that. Now for estate planning, okay? We know what an index universal life is. We know what a universal life is. We know what a variable universal life is. We're going to knock those off now. Now we're going to talk about guaranteed universal life. So what's a guaranteed universal life? A guaranteed universal life, for what we do, is a lot like a term policy, okay? So this term policy, you're going to pay, it still has the cost of insurance built in, it still has all that, but the insurance company takes all the risk. It's a very simple policy, and this is what you're going to be selling out there, okay? So you're going to have a death benefit. It's going to be, let's say it's just $1 million. Oops. $1 million death benefit. Okay? Your premium for that, let's say it's $10,000 a year. Okay? This is the most simple kind of life insurance you can get. Okay? This $1 million is guaranteed to age 121. The premium is guaranteed to age 121. That simple. You do not have to worry about cash values in this one. You don't have to worry about it running out. It is guaranteed, GUL, guaranteed universal life. It is a term policy with a lot of, this is how I explain it to customers. It's much like a term policy that goes out to age 121. So it's a permanent policy with no cash value. Most of the time we don't want cash value because you don't get the cash value and the death benefit when you die. In most policies, you just get the death benefit. And we're talking 99% of the policies, you just get the death benefit and you lose all the cash value. So we want the least amount of premium for the most amount of death benefit and guaranteed as long as possible. Okay, you're going to run into this. GUL is what you sell when you have somebody that has to pay estate taxes. Okay, they don't want a term. They don't want something that, they want something that's guaranteed and they want to pay the least amount of premium possible to do it. And they want it for the rest of their life. You don't want a term or anything like that. GUL is also the best thing to sell in most scenarios to people that have a farm. You're going to run into this all the time. Ask where the farm is going. It's going to Johnny. What's Susie getting? Susie's not getting anything. Well, if you want Susie to get something, GUL, least amount of money in premium for death benefit to give Susie, the daughter, something. So you give Johnny the farm, you give Susie something else. It's never going to be you give Johnny a $10 million farm and you give Susie a $10 million life insurance. It might be we give Johnny a $10 million farm and we give Susie $500,000 in GUL. So she gets something. A lot of families like that idea. And if you just sit down and talk about life insurance with them, you'll uncover a ton of this stuff. I encourage you to study on your own as well. You guys have any questions on any of this? No, we covered a lot. Okay. Like I said, self-study. Self-study, self-study, self-study. Learn about these GULs. Order up from iGroup. Order up an example of an illustration so you can get to understand how these things work. Okay, the writers on there are key. A lot of these will pay for long-term care as well. So, all right, guys. Till next week. Have a good one out there. Bye.